Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, are you looking to expand and grow your business? Are you looking for that edge, that next step up, that paradigm shift? Well, one of the best ways to get you there is through a mentor or a coach. And today's sponsor, Trevor McGregor, he is the man. He is going to get you to be laser focused, to get you onto that next level. And I know from experience dealing with Trevor, he is a master coach, peak performance coach, well over 10,000 coaching hours through clients all over the world. And he helps you achieve better health, more wealth and freedom and contribution than you ever thought possible. Have that coach that holds your feet to the fire. Go on to Trevor's website, coachwithtrevor.com. Again, it's coachwithtrevor.com. And there you can get a free strategy session with Trevor. And you can decide if he's the right fit for you and you're the right fit for him. Again, it's coachwithtrevor.com. You will not be disappointed. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and here for another Hump Day Hustle. With me is John Stiles with Bridge Realty. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. We're wrapping up the week and we got Christmas a couple days away. My kids are jumping off the walls ready for Santa Claus to come to town. And my wife and I are jumping off the walls, not ready for Santa Claus to come to town. We have lots to do still. It seems like every year is the same. You think I'm going to get everything done and have tons of time before Christmas. And then the day before, you're going, holy cow, we got a lot to do. So I don't know if that's how you work, but that's how we work.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly, I know this is cliche and everybody says it, but it's amazing that it's just coming up here. And well, by the time people hear this, Christmas will have come and gone and we'll be looking at New Year's already.
Yeah.
So it's definitely flying by. But yeah, it's a good time of the year. I like seeing the family that's going to be in town and it's going to be good.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We got to get together on Saturday with my side of the family. And then I think not the following week, because that's New Year's. So the week after that, we get together with my wife's side of the family. So fun times, lots of family stuff, which is cool. And then New Year's, some friend stuff. And so it definitely is a good time of the year, but it comes fast and leaves even faster. It seems like it's like after everything, like the dust all settles, I think every year is just like, whoa, what happened? Like the train hit, So
it really is important to, take some time and not be running around so much. So I'm glad. I don't think we have too much planned, just a little bit, but hopefully we can just spend some time relaxing and doing nothing.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife and I used to, when we first got married and before we were married, we would go to like everything and it was all packed right around Christmas. So I remember some years where it was Christmas Eve at my wife's dad's, then it's Christmas morning at my parents' house, and then it's Christmas at my wife's mom's house, and then it's the day after Christmas at, grandma and grandpa's house. And it was like bam, bam, bam. And they're all 2 hours away from each other. So we're running, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 2 hours there, trying to get everything done and packing it in. Finally, we're just like, this is not going to work. We had our first daughter and we said, enough's enough. We're enjoying Christmas ourselves at our own house. My kids are staying in their pajamas until, noon, and we're just hanging out, doing what we want to do. And, like you said, just you got to relax and enjoy it a little bit. Otherwise, it's not fun otherwise. So, all right, well, let's move on to today's topic. And what we wanted to cover today is we wanted to talk about what are the pillars of wealth creation. So this podcast has been going on for a few months now, and it's called Pillars of Wealth Creation. So what does it mean? The goal of this podcast is to give listeners advice from those who have achieved financial freedom or working diligently at that goal, business owners, investors, people that kind of have that type of philosophy. So I think too often people go through life on the path that we're all taught, go to school, get a job, you work all your life, and then you hope that someday you can retire. Hopefully, 65, 70, whatever it is. And then what you do after that is you downsize, you live frugally, and then you maybe take a vacation if you can afford it. But you sit at home and you watch The Price is Right, and, don't go out and do too much. You have to, like I said, you have to downsize and you have to minimalize. And to me, that sounds rather boring. I'll probably never stop working, but if I do, I'd like to do more than just sitting on the couch watching TV. I want to be traveling the world. I want to be loving life. I want to be able to, climb mountains with my wife and take trips with my kids and all that kind of stuff, and be able to really truly enjoy life. So that's part of what I'm trying to accomplish, and I'm trying to help other people accomplish, is to be able to create that. And so we'll talk about, what is creating wealth for me mean, and it's different for everybody. So just because I think creating wealth is one thing, John, you might have a slightly different definition for that and vision for that. If you don't want to do what I want to do, it doesn't mean that you need to think of wealth as the exact same thing. So you have to define it for yourself. But we'll talk today about what I define it as, and then you can throw in your own little twists as well too. Is that cool?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. So, first of all, the all important question, right? What is wealth? Okay. So for me, wealth is a lot more than just money, right? Money is a tool. It's definitely helpful to have money. But that only goes so far, right? You can be a criminal and make a lot of money, but is that truly being wealthy? To me, no, that's just being a filthy criminal. You can have as much money as you want, but if you're pitiful, I don't think that's creating wealth. That's just creating greed and riches. Now, so to me, wealth is, it's about achieving happiness. It's about achieving gratitude. Wealth is being surrounded by your loved ones and them supporting you and you supporting them. And then it's about giving back and getting, but getting back emotionally, physically, monetarily to others, to yourself. Wealth is about being financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually free. So for me, Pillars of Wealth Creation is not about how much money you can have and accumulate before you die, but about that legacy you can build and the memories that you can leave behind. It's about making every day feel like a Saturday. John, now that I've kind of ranted, what to you, maybe you haven't thought about this in detail, because we didn't do a ton of prep before the show. We just kind of said, hey, let's talk about this. But so what to you is wealth and creating wealth? What does it mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with a lot of what you're saying. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy a lot of other things that can reduce pain. So it's definitely an important tool to understand and to have. I think maybe it might be easier for the wealthy to say that money isn't everything. If you're in great need of something, then you might you might have a harder time not focusing on money because you feel like you need that to fix whatever problem might be right in front of you. But at the same time, sometimes poorer people or less wealthy people are very grateful and very satisfied with their current situation because they're focused on other things like family, or other things that are also very important.
Yeah.
So having or being wealthy, it definitely, you touched briefly on health. What good is wealth if you can't live, can't enjoy it. So yeah, those just come a couple of my 2 cents. You're correct. I haven't fully developed my own thesis on wealth, but yes, definitely a good topic here to discuss. So.
Yeah, I think, you hit on some really important things as people. A lot of people desire riches, right? And like you said, money doesn't buy happiness; it buys stuff, right? Yeah. And I don't care who you are, but if you're the most miserable person in the world, yeah, and you get a bunch of money, you're still miserable.
Yeah.
And if you have a bad attitude about everything that happens in your life and it poor me, you're still miserable. And so I don't care how much riches you have. That doesn't mean you're wealthy. It means you got a lot of money. You're probably going to end up losing it or spending it all on a bunch of crap. And it doesn't mean that you're wealthy. So for me, it's about attaining that balance and that peace, right, with your financials. I think financial freedom is definitely very important in wealth, but understanding all the other things, I think, is equally as important as well.
Yep.
So I recently did a blog article on this, and I put it on LinkedIn, so you can check it out on LinkedIn. And we'll link the show notes to that article, so you can go right on the show notes and see the article. But for me, there's several things that you need to do to get to achieve wealth, and the very first most important one is that personal development. And we'll touch on all of these, I think, in future podcasts because we can go in a lot more detail. But I'll just go through the things that I think are important. So number one, personal development. And that's the biggest thing, right? And we've already touched on it and talked about it. If you're not ready for wealth, if you haven't figured out, how you're going to achieve that, and you don't understand it, well, then you need to figure that out. So personal development, 100% number one. And number two, I think, is cash flow, obtaining your cash flow so that your income, your cash flow income, is better than your expenses, is higher than your expenses. That's going to really set you up to be financially free, which will allow you to become wealthy. I've got, appreciation, being appreciative, but appreciating assets, buying assets that are going to increase in value. With that in mind, you have to also have cash flowing assets. So it's cash flowing assets that can increase in value. And again, we'll hit on more of that in detail and what that really means. Number four is leverage, utilizing leverage in the right way, right? Because we've got assets that are going to eat you alive if you leverage. And we've got assets that are creating money. If I've got a rental house and I'm making $300 a month on that rental, that's a positive thing. But if I've got a car and it's costing me $300, that's actually a negative thing. So we want to try to leverage properly. And leverage is a very, very huge tool with building financial freedom. Then we got, yeah, go ahead.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
For leverage, are you mostly talking about leveraging money, or would this include leveraging time or leveraging resources?
Yeah, good question, John. Everything, right? Leveraging time, leveraging your resources. Um, you know, and I actually, now that you say that, that's not in my blog, and I got to update my blog because that's a great point. It's leveraging other people. If you own a business and you're on a business, you want to have other people working for you. Of course, you're taking care of them, right? You're paying them properly, and you're treating them with the respect that they deserve. But you're leveraging their time so that you can then create more for your company, more for them, and of course then more for yourself and anybody else that's your loved ones and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, leveraging time, leveraging other people, and leveraging resources are 100%, John, you hit it right on the head. So tax savings too, that's another one. We got all this tax change coming up. Finding those loopholes in the tax code that are actually not negative loopholes, and we're not dodging taxes. I'm not trying to tell people to not pay your taxes, pay your taxes, but there's loopholes in the tax code specifically made for wealth building strategies, specifically made to give people an opportunity to run and operate businesses. If you're doing things that are creating jobs and creating opportunities for other people, the government is going to reward you.
Yeah, I think loophole is probably, everybody uses that term, but it's kind of a negative connotation. Oh, they're getting away with something. But this is how the tax code is written, and you're supposed to use it this way. So,
yeah, John, if you give to a charity, right, that's a write-off. Mm-hmm. You have two good things going there, right? You gave to a charity. That's awesome, right? You're helping a ton of people out. And the government says, hey, good job. Way to give to that charity. We're going to give you a break on your taxes so you don't have to pay as much. Mm-hmm. So they want to reward people for actually doing positive things. The government wants growth. Well, for the most part, right? I wouldn't call all government great, and don't get me on that topic. But for the most part, our tax code is written for growth. What else do we have? We have savings, right? You need to save money, and you need to be able to be diligent about that. And if you can't save, you should try to save at least 20%. I think, 30, 40%, but at least 20%. It's hard, obviously, especially if you're a single person and you're just getting started. It's hard to save every last penny, but save as much as you can, spend as little as you can, especially when you first get started, until you can start then creating these other cash flowing assets. So I would suggest a lot of savings. And the last thing is giving back. And I think giving back is a massive part of wealth, because you need to give back both monetarily and physically. You need to be part of it. So helping other people, I think, is huge. And on a selfish level, it'll help you network. It creates a positive image for you. It does all those things. And of course, it makes you feel really good. And on a non-selfish level, it's truly helping out. The environment is helping out, animals is helping out, children is helping out, the poor it's helping out, disabled, whoever you're, wanting to help. So,
yeah.
So well, John, what else do you want to add to kind of my soapbox here?
Yeah. Well, thanks, first of all, Todd, for, sharing all these. And like you mentioned, we can get into some of the details later on. I guess I want to ask some more general questions, like how you came up with these 7 pillars. Did you read a book about this, or is this kind of your own thought process? And do you feel like this is an exhaustive list, or you're going to be adding to this?
Yeah. This is straight from my brain. I just split it open, pulled it out, threw it on a piece of paper. Yeah. And maybe it's came from books and stuff like that, of course, throughout the years, and articles and stuff that I read. but yeah, is it an exhaustive? Is it only 7 pillars? No, you could come up with 10, you could come up with 15, you could probably come up with a lot more than that. But I think this encompasses most of the stuff in general terms, right? So we can go into more detail in every aspect and we can pull out bullet points, right? So we can say, pillar 1, personal development. We can pull out bullet points in that and we can point at those as well. And we could quite frankly call that, some of those bullet points, pillar 2, 3, 4, right? So maybe we have 50 pillars when we're all done with this thing, but these are our main stacks and these are our main pillars. And again, other people have different definitions. I'm not saying that I'm right and almighty. This is where I feel like my focus and my energy needs to go to in order to create the wealth I want for myself and for my family and for those around me.
Yeah, that's great. I can relate to a lot of these as far as, trying to pursue them, and some I'm closer to and some I'm further away from, but definitely different things to all consider when pursuing wealth. So,
well, that's a great point, John. I mean, you don't need to achieve every single one right at the same time. You're working towards them. So once you feel like you're in a really good spot, let's say with your cash flow, start working at some other stuff. Start working at making sure you're diligently giving back. I think always be working on all of them, but some of them we might have to sit there and go, you know what? I've achieved good cash flow, but I haven't achieved any appreciation. I haven't been saving that maybe the way I'm supposed to. I haven't been personally developing myself the way I should. Whatever it is, we should look at those and go, okay, you know what? This month, this year, this week, I need to focus on this to try to get my attitude into doing this for myself and to try to work on myself on this. So, you make a good point. Yeah, you're closer to some of them than you are to others. And I think we're all in that stage and we can all continually to work on, bettering ourselves all the time.
Yeah. Well, and it's great to be giving back and just sharing some of this. People can find the article on LinkedIn. They should comment with some feedback and, pull our ideas here. So,
yeah, like you said, comment with some feedback. If you've got, something to add to it, if you say, hey, look, I think this is really important and this to me, it should be included. Great. I'd love to hear it. I love hearing what other people are thinking about. First of all, I love that people are thinking about it. Right. And then I love to hear what they're thinking about. So yeah, definitely give us a comment, on LinkedIn, or give a comment on Facebook or whatever it is. You can go right to our Facebook page too. This is posted right on the Facebook page, the Pillars of Wealth Creation Facebook page as well. So we can link that to, I think we have been linking that to our
yeah,
notes, right?
In the show notes, all the links should be in there. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So John, you brought up a valid point here when we were kind of talking before, is that everybody doesn't necessarily want to achieve the same thing. And we've kind of hit on that, but not as much as I want to go into a little more detail. You mentioned, for whatever reason, somebody might not think creating wealth is important. Maybe they have a misconception. And to me, that's one of the biggest things is a misconception. Creating wealth means you're going to be some greedy Scrooge. You're that guy that is selfish and just thinks about just me. And a lot of people have that negative connotation around what they would call a wealthy individual or a rich dude, right? Or a rich gal. And like you said, a lot of people for whatever spiritual reasons, for just personal reasons, whatever they may be, or for lack of fear, lack of not knowing, they don't want to be wealthy or rich. They don't want that. They think they don't want it, or they think they don't need it.
So
So
yeah, let me just jump in on that. So I come from a kind of a Christian background, and one of the key verses that everybody kind of knows in the Bible is the root of all evil is money, or money is the root of all evil. And I think some people kind of internalize that as money is the root of all evil, whereas it should be actually the love of money.
yes.
Okay, I probably said it wrong the first time. But so the love of money is the root of all evil. So, I think one thing that's important as what you just did previously, you've described wealth as not just about money. It has many different aspects. It has to do with health. It has to do with relationships. It's not just focused on money. And so, the temptation, if you will, is to just be focused on money. Maybe having a certain income level as your goal just for the sake of achieving that income level. Not necessarily what can you do with that income level. So, I don't look down on my upbringing, and I'm still a Christian to this day, but I think I've just kind of maybe developed a better understanding mentally about what that really means, about having money versus having a love of money. So.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. And here's the thing. I read the Bible a decent amount, and I love the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs in itself many times talks about wealth or money, riches, and how you should achieve riches, how you should be obtaining money, and the power, not necessarily the power of that, but the value of that. And people forget to look at the Bible as a whole. And the other thing is, and I get everybody listening to this is not Christians. I'm sure we have Jews and Muslims and atheists and all kinds of other people and beliefs, and that's fine. But I think most belief systems have some sort of negative connotation or negative feedback on money, kind of similar to what Christians do, as you mentioned. So, and since I'm a Christian, I can talk to Christian. I can't talk as much about some of the other things, some of the other religions. But so when you look at the Bible, first of all, the Bible's translated so many times, right? It's been translated thousands of times. So the book you're reading is nowhere near the book that was originally written. And the word for riches is totally different than likely the word that was originally written. And so it gets changed, and our words are maybe more simple than the Hebrew word for wealth and for that. So when you look at it, you got to also think of like, why is it evil, right? How is money evil in itself? It doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I got a dollar bill. I'm going to take my dollar bill out and see if it does something evil to me or to anybody else. I guarantee it's not going to do anything, right? So it's the use of money, and exactly what you said, John. It's that love of money that creates evil, right? And it's that desire, that negative desire, and it's the negative things you can do with money that creates evil. But think of the positives that can happen with money as well. So again, it goes back to understanding your definition of wealth. And when you're going to achieve wealth and you're striving to achieve wealth, as long as you can focus on what it truly means to you and the good that you can do with it, I think that's a positive thing. So I think people need to shake off that upbringing, like you said, that Christian, you're going to go to hell if you have money type of thing, or any other religion that you are that says that, and think of, does that really make any sense? It doesn't. But what's the source of most divorces in the U.S.? Money problems.
Yeah.
The fighting of money. So money can create a lot of problems, right? But the reason it creates a lot of problems is because we don't understand it, we don't respect it, and we have this for some reason it becomes too important to us. That craving for it. If you crave something way too much, it can become dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back to that verse, the love of money, and again, this may not apply to everybody that doesn't believe this, but God says that our love should be for him first, and secondly, for other people. Yeah. And so if we have our love, which is, our craving to please and to live for God and others, then money can take its rightful place and be used as a tool to do good.
Yeah. And that applies to everybody, whether you believe in God or not. Having that love for not money, but people, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, if you just want to take God out of it, if you don't believe in God, it still applies to everybody.
Yep.
So,
and one other, I think, limiting belief that our culture is really promoting is kind of a hate. It seems like a hate for the wealthy. We always hear about these 1%ers who are taking everything from the poor, and
right.
If you look at who the 1%ers are, you only have to make like $350,000 or so. I mean, I don't know the exact statistic, but it's not really that much money. So, interesting story. I had a conversation with somebody just 2-3 years ago, and I was kind of discussing this with him and my beliefs about money and my feelings about money, because they might not be cognitive beliefs, but they might be subconscious feelings, And so he asked me, how much would you make? How much would you feel is a lot of money for you to make? So, and at this time I was like, $100,000 is a lot of money. And he's like, John, that's not a lot of money. So, I mean, there's a perspective. Like, if you've only made $30,000 a year all your life, 100,000 seems like a lot. And the 1%ers who are making 350 or more, they're making a ton of money. What do they need that money for? So there's this kind of built-in cultural thing about, why would you be in that class of people? So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, there is that, that 1% or that 1%er. I mean, you saw it all over Facebook during this last election. It was flying everywhere. And it's just like, people, again, they have that fear. They have that, like you said, they think for some reason those people are like inherently evil.
Right.
There's so much good that happens because people have money. And now I agree we have a lot of problems with, people that don't have money. Everybody needs it to live off of. So we want to be able to make sure we're taking care of our fellow human beings. I think there's companies out there that take advantage of their employees. And, we could get into the whole political arena and talk about that. But, I think good companies and companies that are going to stay around for a long time are going to take care of their employees. And that's through pay, that's through insurance, that's through other positive things that they do. That's through a culture, all kinds of stuff. So you do hear about that CEO that's making, $150 million a year, and they're underpaying all their employees. I mean, there's those problems, but those are, to me, not problems that are happening all over. You hear about it. Those are the problems we hear about because that makes the press, right? And it creates anger, and things that create anger are going to, sell.
Right.
So that's why I don't read the news very often at all, because I don't need to create anger in my life for any reason whatsoever. So cool. You got anything else to add, John?
No, just kind of, wrap up. People can comment about what other limiting beliefs they might have about wealth, and maybe, just share, is wealth something you aspire to, and how do you do that? And not just thinking about money, what other ways do you aspire towards being holistically wealthy?
Yeah. T. Harv Eker, if you haven't heard of him, he's got a book called, I think it's called The Millionaire Mind. And he talks a lot about that negative connotation of money, like the filthy rich, the, stinking rich, the people, what am I made out of money? Money doesn't grow on trees, that kind of stuff. And he talks about all these things that you hear, these limiting beliefs that you hear, and all these kind of negative, stuff you hear about money. And that's we hit on that a little bit today. So
sure.
But he's a good author he's a little in your face. So if you don't like that type of book, don't get it. But he definitely talks about kind of that, your mindset behind it. So pretty cool stuff. Anyways, well, I want to close out. I hope everybody has a great, holiday season. We're right in the thick of it. So enjoy, time with your family and friends and loved ones, and the time that you're potentially getting off of work. And, be able to spend it with people that you love. So I think that's about it, man.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you next week then.
Yeah. Make sure everybody makes every day a Saturday.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the U.S. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Get your free copy of the ultimate guide to passive real estate investing at noradarealestate.com/guide. That's NORADA realestate.com/guide.